Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our first Tuesdays with the team. We're just going to give it a moment while we let everybody join the room. We are super excited. We've had such a great response to this first Tuesdays with the team from 2021. We do have some folks on this call who joined us last year. So if you're joining us again, welcome back. And for those who are new, we're excited to be on this admission journey with you today. It's going to be an exciting year, and we've just had a bit of a giggle, the panelists and I, because of course we have all of our students back at school, which we are thrilled to have, but it is about to be lunchtime at Havergal. So you're going to hear in a minute, I'm sure, a little of the excitement in both the middle school hall where I am and in the junior school where Emily Sims Brown is. So again, let's just give it a few more minutes while everybody joins. We're expecting quite a crowd today. So thank you to everybody for participating. Right. And here comes the middle school bunch. So today is, and today has been an exciting day. We're very fortunate that we've been able to run our sports programs again with a bit of limited capacity, but it was soccer this morning as well as field hockey out on the fields, and all of our cross country runners were out on both the junior school and the upper school. We're super fortunate with the green space here, so they're certainly taking advantage of that. All right, so we'll give it one more minute. It's just 12 o'clock now. I know we have a number of families who are just joining us. We've just had a couple of messages that they're logging in, so that's fantastic. All right. Excellent. So again, this is our first Tuesdays with the team for 2021 as we look towards admissions to 2022. There's several events over the course of the fall to help you get to know Havergal, to help you and your child understand sort of who we are as a school, what we can offer, and why we are a great fit. Today is just the beginning of many information sessions, and today's focus is really about understanding the admission process. And we really had some great questions. Caitlin, Emily, and I we really enjoyed going through them and seeing the thoughtful questions that were there. We won't be able to get to all of the questions, but I think you'll find over the course of the fall, as you attend different webinars, you'll get all of the information that you need. While we really miss having guests in the building, it is awfully nice to be able to have these webinars, to have them recorded so you can watch them at your leisure as well, if you can't make it to some of the events. So it looks like we've got a full house now. It's fantastic to have so many people aboard, and to try and get to all of the information in a scant 45 minutes, we'll get moving. I do want to point out that the Q&A feature is available to families today as we go through our presentation, because really all of the events that we're hosting for our applicant families is about you. It's about making sure you have the information you need. So please, at any time, feel free to add your question into the Q&A. Hopefully we answer it before you even have a chance to pop it in there, but we welcome all of your questions. So without further ado, we'll get formally started. My name is Maggie Houston White, and I'm the Executive Director of Strategic Enrollment Management here at the school. And that's quite a mouthful of a title, but it's quite significant because it speaks to how Havergal works as a school. My job oversees the recruitment, admission, and retention of students. And what that really means is we are with you on this journey, with you and your child on this journey, right from the first day you apply or inquire through to the day that she graduates and becomes an old girl. And with that in mind, we have a number of old girls on this call today, so welcome back to Havergal to them. We're looking forward to seeing you and welcoming you back to the school and showing you all that is new since you've left. And particular welcome to all of our families who are brand new to Havergal. We hope today is the start of a great journey for you. And speaking of old girls, I'm going to ask Caitlin Collis to introduce herself. She is also an old girl. Caitlin, over to you.
I am. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Havergal. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am new in my role this year as Associate Director of Admission. I'll be overseeing the application process for the upper school and for boarding students. But I have some insider knowledge. I am an old girl, as Maggie mentioned. I was a boarder from Bermuda a few years back, here from grade 9 to grade 12. So it's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to be on the other side of things. And to be, immersed in the school once again. So welcome and thank you.
And Caitlin, that was very kind of you to say just a few years back, because I did feel a bit old, because I remember your very first day of Havergal. Also joining us is our Director of Admission, Emily Sims Brown. Emily, maybe you could introduce yourself and talk a bit about your role.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Emily Sims Brown. I am the Director of Admission here at Havergal. It's such a pleasure to be back here with you this fall doing our virtual events. My role is really to oversee the day-to-day operations of the admission team from JK to grade 12. I have the pleasure of overseeing junior school admissions this year. So hopefully I'll be speaking with many of you who are interested in applying for your child for JK to grade 6. So I'm excited to be here with you today and look forward to having conversations with you in the future.
Thank you to both of you. So a lot of the questions we got were, why Havergal? And as you go through this admission process, we really will speak to you about many aspects of Havergal in detail. Our vision and our mission as we move forward with the school. We'll have an in-depth conversation about teaching and learning, about the arts and athletics, about particular divisions. But really, when we think of this, as the admission team think of what makes Havergal so special, it really comes down to the people, the program, and the place. And so when we think about our program, it really is a program that has been thoughtfully designed. It is a liberal arts-based program that's supported by a contemporary well-being program. And what that looks like is we understand that for students to do well in the classroom, they need to feel well supported. Outside of the classroom, they need to feel supported by their teachers, by their peers. They also need an opportunity to grow as an academic, but also as an athlete or a musician or a debater. And so we have a real breadth of program. The academic program itself is rigorous, and it's not something that we shy away from saying. We know that our students are very, very capable students. It's really important that our students are challenged, that they develop the agency to ask really great questions, to be thoughtful in how they listen, and to become globally minded citizens. And our program really, which teaches to understanding by design, is there to have our students truly understand what they're learning. It's important to us at Havergal that our students never ask, why am I learning this? They should know why it's important. They should know why it's interconnected. It's why we offer STEM in the junior school. It's why we offer specific disciplines in our senior school to allow students to really go in depth into their learning, to understand what it is they're learning, and to be able to take that learning and use it out of context, so that when they do leave Havergal and they're in the world in whatever capacity they would like to be involved in, they have an understanding of how to use the knowledge that they have. In the programming outside of the classroom, there is a leadership program that's developed right through our junior school up until grade 12. There's an extensive co-curricular clubs and athletic program, our award-winning art, music, and drama department. And particularly during COVID, we've never been more cognizant of using the 22 acres of our campus to support all of those programs. If you've been following us on Instagram, you will see the athletic teams on all of the fields. You will see music happening both inside the school and outside of the school. I'm really excited on Thursday to be able to watch our very first senior choir rehearsal, which is taking place in the North Quad, one of my favorite spaces. And our program also encompasses our old girls. They become mentors to our students. They become a rich resource for us to speak about what their journey has been like. And of course, at the end of the day, it's about where our students feel prepared and able to go after Havergal, and that's to the universities of their choice. You'll find on our website all of our grad profiles over the years, and we only publish where the students go, not where they got offers to, because we think, we could have masses of data of where they're going. But to us, what's really important is how they do when they get to university. Are they engaged in their learning? Are they engaged in their community? And the answer is yes. We follow our students through their journey after Havergal and help them to become those connected alumni. So that's a little bit about the program. Emily, maybe you could talk a little bit about the place. In particular, we've had some pretty exciting renovations over the last few years.
Absolutely. So hopefully many of you have been able to drive past Havergal and see our beautiful campus. We're so fortunate to be on 22 acres in the middle of Toronto, which is just amazing. And especially what I've really noticed is, during our COVID times, our new normal, our students are able to be outside learning in so many instances, which I just think is so special, whether it is what Maggie just said, being in the choir and singing outside, walking through our Lisa Hardy Trail and exploring, which many of our junior school students do, whether it's through the STEM program. We're just so fortunate to have such a beautiful space that our students can learn from. With 2 outdoor classrooms, 6 tennis courts, a beautiful pool, so many outdoor gathering spaces. We really hope that you're able to come and walk our campus at some point just to see the school and how beautiful it really is. As Maggie mentioned, we've gone through some extensive renovations, both here where I am at the junior school and at the upper school. So at the junior school, we have a beautiful new dining space. We have a STEM lab. We have beautiful I want to say outdoor classrooms, but they're not. They're art rooms that open up into the outdoors. So our students are able to they're drawing and they're painting while they're viewing the outdoors just over our the Burke Brook, which is so beautiful to see that. Especially, we've all gone from hybrid learning at home and being actually back on campus. It's really wonderful to see our girls in these beautiful new spaces and being able to learn and take in the outside and the fresh air. At the upper school, we have a beautiful new wing with many new classrooms that our students are able to utilize. And really what that means is through our cohorts and with COVID, we've been able to space everyone out so well. So I think sentiments that I often heard last year was that because we have such a large campus and so many amazing facilities, our girls were able to be back on campus 5 days a week. And that's the same this year. Because we have such a big campus, both in our facilities indoors and outdoors, we've really been able to ensure that our girls are back here and learning, whether it's doing their academic courses or their co-curriculars, which Maggie mentioned. We're back to running clubs and teams, and it's so wonderful to see our girls back on campus. I mean, my favorite thing, just last week, I was outside with our JK students playing on their playground and watching them. And that was just really special to see our kids being able to play and have fun and be back together here on campus. I don't know, maybe Maggie, I can turn it back to you and you can share what your favorite part of our campus is.
Oh, that's actually a tricky question. I think one of the things I appreciate are not just the fact that we have dedicated classrooms for things like a strings classroom, a band classroom, a vocal music classroom, our biology lab, our chemistry labs, our physics labs, spaces that are really dedicated to whether it's art or tech or design or whatever the subject is. It's the spaces that we've made available for communal gatherings. I think of the Brenda Robson Hall and prayers. And having the ability to this year, while the whole school can't be together, to have a full grade be together and what that means for them. I think of the student commons in the upper room with the upper school with the beautiful bio wall, and again that dining hall in the junior school, and the new music facilities there that have allowed full grades again to come together and allowed us to have things like primary choir. The pieces and the programs that really make the learning experience special. Caitlin, maybe you could start with your favorite spot on campus. Maybe it's an old one from your time here or a new one, and maybe talk about the people in your experience.
Absolutely, sure. So it's funny, it's hard to pick a favorite because I have such kind of personal memories of so many different spaces, the boarding school, the quad areas where I'd sit outside with friends. But since being back here as a member of the staff, I've kind of had two moments where I've been really like, wow, it's nice to be back. One was sitting in the opening prayers in the Brenda Robson Hall with all the grade 12s who were finally able to be together and listening to Dr. Sampson, our new principal, giving her opening speech and just really feeling that sense of community. And the other was actually walking with my colleagues down the main hallway after grabbing lunch. And I had made that walk so many times before, talking with friends after being up on Avenue Road. So it's a place that holds a lot of memories for me. And to that end, thinking about the people, I have a unique perspective because I was here as a student and now I'm here on the other side of things. And my role for the last month has really been to talk with faculty, talk with administrators, talk with students about what they're doing in the classrooms, what makes Havergal unique. So I can say that people love it here. The people who work here love working here. Our faculty, they're passionate about their subjects. They're specialists in their fields. I was looking through our staff database today and, saw that we have 50 plus faculty members with masters, either in education or in their subjects that they're teaching now. And that passion that they bring to the classroom is infectious. It's what elevates the learning that our students are receiving. And so saying that, same with students love it here. This is not a school where students leave at 3:30 and kind of forget about school. They're here after the fact. I walk out of my office and I see students, practicing their scripts to audition for the school play, or I hear someone playing the piano in the Brenda Robson Hall, or I look out my window at students, trying out for a sports team. That love is reflected in the dedication that students have for this community. You see it last week. We had a casual dress day where students were encouraged to dress in their house colors. People go all out. I think I still have a box in my attic with pink spandex and a tutu from my time here, which I have yet to pull out. But, people, students really love this school. Everybody does. So that's what I would say.
I would agree. And I think, in particular, I think of our faculty and staff and their dedication to professional learning and professional growth, which is an expectation here at the school, as is being involved in the co-curricular program. And, I think of our junior school teachers who all need to have their additional qualifications in mathematics teaching, because that's not a requirement to teach in primary or the junior level. But here at Havergal, it is. It's encouraging our faculty to be lifelong learners. And as you said, that's infectious. And we're a group of faculty and staff who have fun together. Last Friday was we've got a new disc golf course that was put in last year here at Havergal. So we all went out there and played disc golf together. We're a group that plays hard together, but we learn every day together. And we really encourage the growth of not just our students, but those around us. And that includes our parents with our parent education program. So we very much feel like a community school despite our size. And that's something we work really hard at, to make sure everybody from our tiniest junior kindergarten student to our 18-year-olds who are about to graduate, that they all feel known, that they feel valued, and they feel like they belong here. And so belonging here starts with going through the admission process and understanding what it is you're looking for in a school and what makes the right school for you. And that's a really personal question. On our part, we are really, we've put together an application process that we hope allows us to collect as much information as we can about you and your family to understand what you're looking for. So Emily, maybe you can talk people through the application process.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see the list in front of you. It's some documents that might take you some time to sort of collate and get into us, but when you look at this list is really designed for us to get to know you and for you to get to know the school. So you'll see the first step is completing the application and paying the fee. That's just simple. It's all done through Veracross, which is our application system. We do ask for a photo, and that is just so that we can recognize all of our applicants. It's really helpful for us to get to know her in her, what she looks like, but also who she is as a whole girl. So that's helpful for us. We would ask that it's just of her face. So like a passport style or a school photo, recognizing not all students have had school photos in the last year or two, but as close as you can get to that, please. Previous 2 years report cards. So obviously for JK and SK, that looks a little bit different. But as you're looking at those later years, we are looking for those to be submitted. A copy of her birth certificate or passport, and that's just so we can confirm what age she is. So we want to make sure that your daughter's going into the right grade. So that's helpful. There's a parent questionnaire and a student questionnaire. And so the student questionnaire is not you don't need to do that for a JK SK applicant, obviously. But as your daughter is increasing in grade, we do ask for her to complete those questions, as well as there's some questions for us. Again, it's about us getting to know you and your daughter before the interview. There's what we call an applicant profile, and that's all confidential. There's a direct link or a spot to enter a teacher or a guidance counselor or a coach's email address in our system. And that profile gets sent off right to them directly and comes back to us. And again, that's just one more piece that helps us to get to know your child. There's a scholarship application and financial assistance application. So starting in grade 7, we're really fortunate that we have funds able to help families pay for the education. And so that is all part of our application system. So there's a little toggle where you would toggle over saying you're looking to apply for a scholarship or financial assistance. Now, the scholarship application comes with questions within our application system. The financial assistance application is actually done through a third-party provider called Apple Financial. So if you're looking at multiple schools, most schools in Ontario do use Apple Financial, and that can take a little bit of time to gather some of those personal documents. So if that's something you're looking into, start looking into that now and start that application to Apple as soon as you can. It may take a little bit of going back and forth between now and our deadline. So that's about it. As you go along, if you have questions, we're all here to help you. So if there's any technical glitches or you have questions, we're all here to support you going through that process.
Thank you, Emily. And I really want to reiterate that our process is really designed to meet applicants where they're at. We recognize how very different life is right now. And when you think of an applicant who may be applying for grade 1, for instance, they've actually never been to school during non-COVID times. When you think of an applicant applying for grade 7, the last time they had a quote unquote normal year was in grade 4. So we know that girls are coming in at different stages, different levels of comfort, and our job as a team is to make sure we are meeting them where we're at and to make sure that they leave the interview process and the assessment process feeling confident, feeling like they had the ability to do well, and to know that we were looking for what is great about them. That's really important to us, that all of our applicants feel positive during this process. I think the other thing to note is we do have entry years and non-entry years. And it sounds a bit funny to say a non-entry year. And you can see I'm skipping around here. I'm having a bit of a technical glitch with my my PowerPoint at the moment. An entry year for us, our major entry years are JK, where we have 16 to 18 spaces. Grade 1, again, we'll have about 16 spaces. Grade 5, we have 20 spaces where we have a brand new class come in. Grade 7, where we have about 50 spaces, and then grade 9, where we have about 15 spaces. If your daughter is interested in a year that isn't actually an entry year, we do encourage you to apply. We won't know if we have spaces until we've done our re-registration. Obviously, the last couple of years, there's been many, many different decisions made by families. Families have, our attrition rate is very, very low. About 99% of our students return every year. With the 1%, it's generally they leave Havergal because of moves. But we always encourage families to apply to a non-entry year because there may be a few spaces available, and we do look to candidates who applied before the application deadline. So that's really important. And when you think about what the application process and the interview process looks like, I know there was a lot of questions, and I can understand that. Interviews start just after Thanksgiving, and they run all the way till February 1st. And as someone asked, I know you interview for about 5 months. Does that mean you have a lot of candidates? And yes, we do. But families are looking at many schools, and it's really about finding your right fit. And often I find when you find your fit, your school finds you back. So applicants at all grade levels will have a one-on-one interview with a member of the admission team. So myself, Caitlin, Emily, perhaps a member of our admin team. And the interview will start with your daughter, unless she's in JK and SK, where it will be with the whole family during the entire interview. And it's really been set up so that we work with your daughter through the interview and through the assessment. Typical questions are, tell me about your school. Tell me what you like to do outside of school. Tell me about your family. No questions that are tricky. And we know sometimes girls are shy, and sometimes they have trouble even answering really simple questions. Our job, make them feel comfortable and wait until they are, so that we can get the best out of your daughter through her interview. Our assessments are not online assessments, in that they're not standardized tests. And we, a number of years ago, we made the move to not using standardized tests. And as part of our look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, we had realized that there was a vast number of students who were applying to our schools from different systems, and that some of the standardized tests were really geared to one system. So we developed individual tests that then we were able to use during COVID, where we are actually working with students on problems online together, just one-on-one. And what I want you to understand is a couple of things. Those assessments are age and stage appropriate. So we won't be asking your daughter to do things that are too difficult for her. Number two, it's okay if she doesn't know the answer. What we do is we actually work with each of our applicants to see, how do they problem solve? How can they think? How can they work together with us as a team? All of those are important skills, as well as sort of where you're at with your learning. But this, as I said, allows us to meet the students where they are at. So please, it's really important that you understand that your daughter understands that. We really want to understand their critical thinking skills, and we really want to see how creative they are. All those pieces will help make her successful here at Havergal. And we do get quite a few questions about the confidential applicant profile, because you as parents don't see that. And so that is, it's almost like a reference. It's something you send to a coach or a principal or a teacher who can talk a little bit about who your child is as a learner. And it's all of the questions are geared towards who she is as a learner, and sort of where she is with her character development. Havergal is a mission-based school who really works to live our values every day of courage, compassion, inquiry, and integrity. And so those values are what the questions in our confidential applicant profile center on. It's not about passing and failing. Again, it's a little piece of the puzzle, so that when we put all these pieces of the puzzle together, we've got a really good picture of who your daughter is and why she is an exceptional student. We really want to ensure that this is a comfortable process for you as parents and for your daughter as they go through. And maybe, Caitlin, you can talk a little bit about how parents can best support their child as they work through this process.
Absolutely. Well, we understand that choosing a school is a major decision. And so particularly for students applying for middle school, senior school, involve your child in the process. You want to make sure that we're the right fit for you and your child. And to that end, know that we in admissions are here to answer your questions, here to help you through the process. There are never any silly questions, so feel free to reach out to one of us and to pass along any questions that your daughter may have. And then I just say, to echo Maggie, you can reassure your child that we want to know what's great about them. We want to know who they are as a person, what their passions, what their interests, what their strengths are, what they're going to bring and contribute to the Havergal community. So you can just tell them everything you've heard today from Maggie, from Emily. We want to know what makes them special, and nothing in our process is designed to trick them up or make them doubt themselves or make them question why they might be interested in Havergal.
Thanks, Caitlin. And as we go through this process, you will have questions, and we are here to answer them. And I always have a bit of a giggle, and I know, Emily, you've seen this in the past years too, when our applicants during the interviews blush a little as parents talk about what you see as special about your daughter. We love that. We love to hear all the things that she's going to bring, and we love to hear how we can best support her. You as parents, you work in partnership very much with us as a school, but you're always going to be the expert in your daughter. So let us know how we best support her. How do we help her on her best day? What do we do if she's not having a great day? A couple of questions have come in about report cards and what needs to be submitted. So when we say 2 years of previous report cards, we need to see the June 2021 report card and the June 2020 report card. And then you'll send report cards as they come throughout the year. The confidential school report should go to a teacher who knows your daughter, or a coach or a principal who knows your daughter. So if that's last year's teacher, if that's the best person, fantastic. We'd prefer they have taught them or worked with your daughter within the last 2 years, simply because there's so much change in young students as they move forward. But that's the best way to work through that. So an application for us is considered complete once you've filled in the form, paid your fee, and sent in the report cards. We know it may take a little more time to get that confidential school report. It's just really helpful to have before our interview, because again, we like to make sure we're well prepared with questions that will be relevant to your daughter and to her experience. As you go through the admission process, there are all of these virtual events that you see on the screen, and they really are designed to let you know who we are as a school, because at the end of the day, the most important part of the admission process is you finding the right school for your daughter and for you as a family. You are all joining Havergal, and we want you to feel comfortable and confident with that decision. So in the coming weeks, you'll hear from our principal, Dr. Sampson, and members of the SLT about our vision and values. We've got open houses for the junior school, a specific one for grade 7 and grade 9. We also have on October 26th something called Strong Beginnings, and it's part of our series with our primary teachers, talking about what the primary program specifically looks like at Havergal. On November 2nd, our Director of Athletics and Director of Performing Arts will speak to you about life beyond the classroom. November 9th will be our Director of Teaching and Learning and our faculty, our Vice Principal of Teaching and Learning and our faculty, talking about, sort of our school's philosophy in teaching and learning. November 16th is something that is always a special event for us, and that's a student-run webinar. And that's them talking to you about what they've experienced at Havergal, what they love about it, what they found challenging about it, what they would keep forever, and what they would change. And finally, November 23rd is Community Counts, and that's our parents and our old girls talking about their experience. Because as I mentioned, this is a whole family experience. We want you all to join the Havergal community and for you all to feel comfortable and confident being here at the school. So we're hoping that the admission process allows you to connect with the school, to feel comfortable with the school, and allows your daughter to shine. I think there's a couple of questions in the chat, so let me get to those, and I would encourage you to pop your questions in there. So again, just a question around non-entry years. We won't know specifically how many spaces we have in non-entry years until closer to December or January when we've gone through our re-reg process. So we do encourage you to apply for a non-entry year. We won't start interviewing in non-entry years until we know we have a place. We simply feel it's not fair to put girls through a process if we know they can't be successful in it. So we will keep in touch with families of non-entry years throughout the late fall and early winter to let you know where we are in that process. And I'm just scrolling down. Emily, maybe you can help me out.
Yeah, sure. So there's another question here. We live in Asia and are looking to apply for our daughter for second grade. Is there anything that you would suggest we pay attention to given the geographical difference?
That is a great question. And we offer, because particularly being in Toronto and being such a hub, we have families who come from all over the world to join us at Havergal when they move to Toronto. So first of all, good evening to you, and it must be the middle of the night for you. So thank you for being a part of this today. I think that would be the one thing I would say. Make sure as we're working through the process, if we have space in grade 2 and we can interview your daughter, make sure it's at a time that works for her. We can interview her very early in the morning, our time, to allow it to be before her bedtime. We want her to be at her best. Other than that, if your daughter's been at a school and the report cards are not written in English, please ensure that they're translated. And know that if you yourself don't speak English particularly well because you've just moved to Canada, bring a translator if that's helpful for you. Again, we want you to have the information you need. And I know if I suddenly move to Germany tomorrow, my German is very weak, so I would need help with a translator there. We say the same thing here. Make sure you have the opportunity to ask all of your questions and get the information that you need.
Great, thanks, Maggie. There's a family looking for grade 9 entry and wondering what the application deadline is, which is not something we mentioned throughout our our process here. So it's December 1st is our deadline this year. And then we have another question. Should we submit the application before we have the 2021-22 report cards?
Absolutely. So you submit your application with the past report cards that you do have, and then there's a space to just keep uploading it. You can go back into the portal. And I've just noticed here, I finally got my mouse moving here, that there's an error request on the confidential applicant profile. So thank you for pointing that out. We will get our tech people on that right away. Throughout this process, when I started at Havergal 20 years ago, it was pen and paper and you had to write all of your applications in. Tech has its benefits and its challenges. If you have any tech issues, we have Laura Staffen and Amy Holder on our team who are excellent. We're more than happy to help. And we have our IT team has a dedicated person to help with admissions. So please, if there's something you notice, if there's something that isn't working for you, just always let us know. We want this to go as smoothly as possible for you. Okay, so that takes us just about to time. We'll see if there's
We have one more question here, Maggie, or yeah,
Perfect.
One more question. So it says, so my daughter's grade 8 class teacher needs to fill in and submit a confidential assessment. So maybe there's a little confusion over who should be that person submitting the confidential profile.
So the confidential profile is something that needs to go to a teacher that knows her well. So if your daughter's grade 8, so if you're applying for grade 9 and your daughter's grade 8 teacher doesn't know her well, have one of her grade 7 teachers fill that out. Perhaps your daughter is in grade 3 and she's changed schools and you don't know the teachers at her current school very well. You can have a former teacher fill that out, perhaps one of her coaches. It's absolutely fine. What we really are looking for with that confidential application profile is another view on who your daughter is as a learner, what she's capable of, where she may need some support, and how we as a school can best support her. So really, it's about making sure it's someone who is connected with your daughter and understands her from those perspectives. So definitely a teacher, a guidance counselor, a principal are preferred, but it can be an outside coach provided it's not a coach or a tutor that's being paid by your family. So that's fantastic. Okay, I think there's one more question that's popped in there. Is that right, Emily?
Yep. What about her grade 5 teacher who knows her really well?
Well, again, we really want it to be a teacher who's taught her within the last 2 years, because there's so much growth and change within our students. And we're so fortunate here at Havergal because we see that with students starting in kindergarten and going all the way through to grade 12, we see how much growth happens. And it's one of the reasons why we have 2 different buildings. Our junior school really allows girls to have a special space for them for JK through to grade 12. And then they graduate and come across the bridge to the upper school into a whole new building and almost a whole new world, still sporting their green and gold with pride.
All right, we have
questions come in just about boarding. If you could comment on boarding, what are the deadlines and availability for grade 9?
Okay, fantastic. So greetings. I'm not sure where you're coming from looking for boarding, but we are always thrilled to have boarders apply. We have about 8 spots for grade 9 boarding, 8 to 10 spots. Boarding is different from day in that it's done on a rolling basis. Part of the reason for that is students in boarding, because they're coming internationally, are coming from different systems. So their school years end at different points. So if you're applying for boarding, we do say that you should apply by the December 1st deadline. When you're applying as a day student, offer day, decision day for us is February 25th. But for boarding students, we do offers on a rolling basis. So the earlier you get your application in, the quicker you'll have your interview, and we can go through the admission process to help you give you a jump start on your plans for next year. So delighted to hear from you and looking forward to meeting your daughter.
And it looks actually like there's another question about boarding just in terms of moving back and forth, but I'm wondering if maybe that person could type in their email address for us so that we can connect with you, or that maybe Caitlin can reach out to you just to discuss that as an option.
Perfect. And that's a great note to end on, Emily. It's, again, we are here to answer your questions, and you can reach us always at admissions@havergal.on.ca. That's our general mailbox. That your questions will be directed then to the right person. We've also got not just our virtual events, but we have an email address where you can connect with students. We'll forward your email to one of our prefects or one of our house captains. And then we have a parent ambassador email where if you have questions specifically for one of our parents that you want to know about, we can forward your email to one of our parent ambassadors to have a conversation with you about what it's like to be a parent at Havergal. Okay, well, that is all the time we have for today, but what a great start and what terrific questions. Thank you, everybody. We're really excited for this admission year to move forward. We're super hopeful that at some point we'll be able to have you into the school to see it. For now, though, it will be virtual, and we are looking forward to getting to know you, getting to know your daughter, and to sharing all that Havergal has to offer you both. So thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can see us all. From Caitlin, Emily, and I, it's really been a pleasure, and we look forward to connecting with you throughout the admission season. Thanks so much for joining us today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.